Alright guys, so it is Wrestlemania season. You know what that means? It means the WWE is on the road to Wrestlemania. It means we get a new Flow Rida song. And WWE apparently decided, hey, we don't have enough pay-per-views. We gotta throw one more in there. Which is funny because a huge complaint about this company, a complaint that people have had for a long time, is that they don't spend enough time building up their big shows, their pay-per-views, and at least WrestleMania would get more build than usual, and now they're doing Roadblock, and everybody's complaining, oh, this is taking away from the WrestleMania storylines. And of course it is. I mean, you can't do two big shows. So one of them has to suffer. But honestly, Roadblock wasn't a bad show. I thought this show was pretty good. I didn't really get bored until the Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper thing. After that, my interest kind of dwindled until the end of Dean Ambrose versus Triple H. That got me back into it, but everything up until that point I thought was great. The crowd was really hot for everything the whole night. Well, for most everything. They did die at a couple points, but the show wasn't bad. I mean, they're definitely, they kind of hurt both shows. Like, with Roadblock, they couldn't really do a lot of crazy stuff because they have to save some for WrestleMania. But because they took away from WrestleMania to do Roadblock, both shows just kind of went down. You can only do one right, man. Save your big stuff for WrestleMania and just build up to that. The show starts off with the New Day versus the League of Nations. And this was a good match. I enjoyed it. My problem is the League of Nations. I mean, what is that? You had Sheamus and Wade Barrett. And I'm not really sure everything they've done with this group, but from what I've seen, they're nothing. I know they have that Social Outcast group, which is basically a bunch of jobbers. It's like a new job squad who still jobs. I don't know. But the League of Nations is the same thing as that group. The only difference is that the people in the League of Nations used to actually be someone. The Social Outcasts were never anybody. That's the only difference. And it's like this idea I had before where you could have Barrett and Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and it's actually the exact same thing as the League of Nations, except this is done really poorly. So I couldn't really invest too much of my attention into this because, I mean, who cares about the League of Nations? But the match itself was pretty good. I mean, the best part was Xavier Woods' trombone spot. Kofi's running and he does a drop kick in the corner and Xavier Woods was like, brrr. 5 stars for that. But yeah, New Day goes over here and the League of Nations continues to do nothing. That's got to be one of the worst heel stables of all time. Chris Jericho comes out, he does a heel promo, which is great, and he wrestles Jack Swagger. Now I know what you're thinking. Jack Swagger, I don't even remember the last time I saw that guy. And that's what I thought. I immediately was like, oh boy. But this was a decent match. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. I'm not saying it was great, but it was it was a decent match at this point on the card with Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger, because Chris Jericho was a lot like old heel Chris Jericho. The way he was acting, his promo, the way he was running around the ring, and that really made the match for me. Chris Jericho's been great lately. So, of course, Jericho wins, Jack Swagger taps out. This did absolutely nothing for him. I'm really not sure why they would bring him out here. I mean, they were in Canada. He was still doing the We the People thing. He had the American flag on his Titantron, I could understand Natalya getting a match because they're in Canada, but why Jack Swagger? There's so many people on this roster, it makes no sense to have Jack Swagger. But, he's probably going to be let go soon. Then we have an NXT match, Enzo and Cass versus The Revival. This was freaking amazing. And not just because of the match. This was my first time seeing Enzo and Cass. And I've heard a lot about these guys. People love these guys. I see why now, because they are freaking phenomenal. And it's not so much Cass. He's kind of like a younger Kevin Nash. I mean, better than Kevin Nash, but he does a lot of the same style moves, like big boots and sidewalk slams, hair flips. But Enzo has it. Like that it factor people talk about in wrestling. Like some people have it, some don't. Enzo has it. I was like immediately into this team because of his opening promo, the whole "you can't teach that" thing. And he has that look in his eyes that reminds me of Jay Briscoe. Like, he reminds me of a crazier Jay Briscoe. And the dude is just awesome. I was very happy with this team. So they fought the Revival. I can't remember their names, but those guys are kind of like Arn Andersons to me. They both remind me of Arn Anderson, and they were great workers. They were a great team. They hit some crazy moves. They won the match with some type of like flapjack into a code breaker type thing. And I don't know if it was botched or that's the way it's supposed to be, but Enzo just landed like this on top of that guy's knees, and it was nuts to see. Definitely the best match on the show. So then we got Charlotte versus Natalya. This got a lot of time, and it was good. I mean, I wouldn't say this wasn't a good match. I just didn't care about it. But it was a good match. Here's the thing with Natalya. She's like the ultimate underdog. They could do so much with her because everyone knows like she never gets anything, especially in Total Divas. She's always talking about that. It's very sad. You know, I worked so hard for this. I thought I'd have a match on the show. I didn't have a match. I mean, she's been talking about that for like years now. I mean, it's not gonna happen. It's over. And that sucks to say that, but it's true. Like, her time has come and gone, and it wasn't even that great when it came. So I feel bad for her, but they've clearly moved on to these other divas now, and they even have more divas coming up. I mean, it's just, they're not going to use her, but I can't completely blame WWE for that either, because even though the fans would love an underdog story like that, the underdog themselves has to have something they can give the fans. And while she's a decent female wrestler, she's not amazing by any means. She's okay in the ring. She is just like so devoid of personality. She just does not have any personality to her. She's just not exciting in any way. And there was a spot in this match when Charlotte had her in the figure four, and Charlotte was like screaming, "Tap, tap." And Natalie's just like, "No, I'm not gonna tap." Just like that. While she's in the figure four, she wasn't freaking out. She's like, "No, I'm not gonna tap out." She was like, "No, I'm not gonna tap." And I was like, "You're talking so casually right now. Like, this is blowing my mind. Like, how bad this girl can be, and she's been doing it for so long. Like, how does that happen?" Well, I mean, she's been doing it for a long time, but it's not like she's had a lot of matches, so you could say, like, she doesn't get as much practice as the other divas. I mean, how many matches does Natalya have a year? Like, 3? But, okay, so Charlotte won. Like I said, it was pretty good. Then it was supposed to be Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar, and then Bray Wyatt comes out and says it's Bray and Luke Harper versus Brock Lesnar, but Brock came out and he just beat up Luke Harper, and then Bray walks away, and after Lesnar wins the match, he starts walking up the aisle, and Bray just speed walks out of there. Like, that was it. It was very short, and it was just nothing to it. I did not care about this at all. I thought it was terrible. Then we had Sami Zayn versus Stardust. honestly, I started playing a computer game during this match. I didn't really care to see this one. Yeah, it was Stardust versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's the new guy, so he went over here, but it was like nothing special at all. I mean, Stardust versus Sami Zayn. I'm sorry, I can't get into that. So then it was Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. And this match here started a little slow. It got better towards the end. One complaint I have about this match, besides it wasn't very exciting at all, was Dean Ambrose's wild and wacky selling of like everything. That was so bad. So Triple H does the slingshot spot where he grabs your legs and then he pulls back and then the wrestler's head hits the bottom rope right across his neck. And Ambrose's facial expressions during that completely took me out of this match because it was so wacky. I mean, he's in there with Triple H, who's been working hard to make him look good. So I can't imagine he was doing this on purpose to like mess with Triple H. Like he thought he was selling really well here, and it just looked like crap. He was like, like it was completely over the top. What I just did was better and would have made more sense and been more realistic than what Dean Ambrose was doing. I can't even duplicate what he was doing. So, what happens next? Triple H. Crap, I can't remember. Dean Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds on Triple H. And the ref counts 3. And I was like, oh my goodness. That's insane. Dean Ambrose my roommate was watching that with me. And we both freaked out. And then we find out that his feet were under the bottom rope. So WWE really got me with that. Because just before that happened, I was saying, there's no way Dean Ambrose is going to win this match. And then that happened, and we were both like, what? And for them to like pull it back, yeah, it sucks. Like, it would have been really cool if Dean Ambrose won, but the way they did it was awesome. I totally bought into that, and it really got me into the rest of the match. So, of course, Triple H ends up winning with the pedigree. And that was the end of the show. But for a second opinion about this Dean Ambrose fiasco. So, what did you think about Dean Ambrose losing that match?
Well, I thought it was complete trash. I mean, WWE is finally, at one point it's like, oh my gosh, like, they're finally going to let the bad guy win. Well, not the bad guy, but Dean Ambrose. Kind of crazy, which is awesome. But, finally you got Triple H pinned. Now, I came in late. I came in a few minutes before that. And, he finally got Triple H pinned, 3 count. I'm like, it's over. I'm going to start watching Raw every Monday. But then, ref comes and says, your feet were up under the rope. Absolute trash. Why the WWE does not want to make smart decisions and put the newcomers up, I will never understand. But I guess there's me watching Raw every Monday.
So there you have it. Yeah, so overall, I thought that this show was pretty good. I was really into a lot of this stuff. I thought everything up until Brock Lesnar was good. Everything after that was just okay, but the end of Dean Ambrose versus Triple H really got me hyped up again. So I have to say I enjoyed Roadblock. And I got the network just for this show. And I waited because apparently WrestleMania is like early April. So by getting this, I also get WrestleMania. So I can't really beat that deal. I mean, $10 for that. So I definitely had to re-up the network. And now I'm going to spend the rest of my network subscription watching old WCW like I always do. But that's my review of Roadblock. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on the show in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye. Bad show. I thought this show was pretty good. I didn't really get bored until the Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper thing. After that, my interest kind of dwindled until the end of Dean Ambrose. Alright guys, so it is WrestleMania season. You know what that means? It means the WWE is on the road to WrestleMania. It means we get a new Flow Rida song. And WWE apparently decided, hey, we don't have enough pay-per-views. We gotta throw one more in there. Which is funny because a huge complaint about this company, a complaint that people have had for a long time, is that they don't spend enough time building up their big shows, their pay-per-views. And at least WrestleMania versus Triple H, that got me back into it. But everything up until that point I thought was great. The crowd was really hot for everything the whole night. Well, for most everything. They did die at a couple points, but the show wasn't bad. Would get more build than usual. And now they're doing Roadblock, and everybody's complaining, oh, this is taking away from the WrestleMania storylines. And of course it is. I mean, you can't do two big shows. So one of them has to suffer. But honestly, Roadblock wasn't a bad